NBA Finals are wrapping up. I have Dani Klupenger with me, who you know things about all sports. Tennis, you played hoops, of course, D1, Stony Brook. So the secret of podcasting is that we're recording this before they wrap up. I've been following hoops casually. I mean, two small markets, right? Thunder, Pacers. If I wasn't tracking it as closely as I did this season, I would be like, where did this come from? Were you as surprised as me?
Yeah, which is actually kind of fun. I think that's what makes it so fun is it's not the normal cities that you hear of, nor is it big cities. You've got Oklahoma City that was in the middle of a rebuild. We thought it would take a couple years for us to really see that come to fruition. And then you've got the Indiana Pacers under Rick Carlisle, who they have good pieces, but he's actually maximizing the potential out of these players that he's getting out of them. So kudos to the coaching, kudos to the clutch plays that we've been seeing. And not to mention, it's not your usual characters, which I think is bringing in more eyeballs than maybe what you're typical if you just always are used to seeing the Celtics or you're always used to seeing the Warriors. Now this is a little bit more intriguing.
Great series, great season. We have great characters. I want to talk a little anniversary and some of these timelines that we have here. So we're going to do a little This Week in Sports. So it's the perfect time to sort of bring you in, Dani, and figure this out. Thursday, June 19th is the anniversary of LeBron winning in Cleveland. When you think about that, what sort of stands out to you?
Who doesn't love a story, right? The reason we're in sports is because we love these storylines. LeBron James, the hometown kid, wins a title for his hometown team. Like, could you actually script a better ending?
When I think 2016, I truly believe that was like 3 years ago.
And it wasn't. Isn't that so weird? 9 years ago? Don't trust my math. I am a little blonde, but I do believe that's 9 years ago.
Of course, LeBron in starting five, Court of Gold, of course. What was it about that specific LeBron-led Cavs team that was able to do their thing against Steve Kerr's Warriors?
I just think it's so interesting how his mindset works. He's obviously so tough mentally. Not only are you getting all the pressure from your city, from your entire state, you're also the guy. Not to mention, you're not just the guy on the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're the guy in the league. You're the most famous player on planet Earth, and you're expected to perform night in and night out. I think that any great player, the reason that makes them make us say wow is because they're able to perform under that type of pressure. They want the ball in their hands. They want to take the big shot.
Yeah.
The mindset is unbelievable to me that you're going to approach every single game with that same intensity. And then you also want the ball. Like, to me, in some instances, star players may want to run from it and not want the big moment. He wants the big moment. He still wants the big moment.
He's wanted the big moment since we first heard LeBron James' name.
Exactly. It's amazing. It's so cool to see. And then for him to win it for his hometown team with that squad, he had tried it before. He goes away to what he calls was quote unquote college for him, going to Miami, learning what it was going to be like to be a champion. And he comes back and wins it. And yeah, I mean, stinks for the other side of that, right? The Warriors, having a 3-1 lead in the finals and then losing it, but they were okay. They figured it out.
You're talking about winning for your city and obviously LeBron and the Cavs, that mean some things. Steve Kerr, of course, a player in his own right, playing with the greatest. Love you, LeBron. Love everything you're doing on Netflix. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Playing with him, learning through osmosis through years, and of course being the prolific coach that he's been. But then there's a whole other thing. When it comes to winning for your country. I'm a huge Kevin Durant fan. So watching from Court of Gold, that clip of him talking about what it meant to him.
Court of Gold was absolutely fantastic. And Kevin Durant, I think, is what drove that storyline through it all, because here's a guy that's so decorated and then brings everybody with him. It's like, hey, the rest of the world's starting to make some noise and they're starting to get really good and they're starting to get cocky. There were a couple quotes in that where Kevin Durant's sitting back and he's like, you want to talk that talk? Well, then you better show up because we're going to show up. And that confidence and that cockiness is actually alluring and it's inspiring. And then you can see the rest of the team kind of jump in behind him. And then you've got Steve Kerr leading the way, who I think is one of the best coaches ever. To me, getting to watch him up close and personal and see his camaraderie with players is what's really cool, because it's not like, if you have a coach, it feels like he's going to tell you what to do. He's going to delegate. Not him. He's okay hearing the opinions of other players and trying to make it more of a collaborative effort. And you see that a lot in Court of Gold. And I think that's what ultimately leads them to success, is because you have obviously the best athletes in the world. And although there are some amazing pieces on other countries' teams, you still have some of the best top to bottom roster that you could possibly make up on USA's team. But then you're led by a leader like Steve Kerr. It's no wonder they walked away with gold.
I mean, there is some talent, though, on the other teams. You mentioned it, right? So you have Wemby, obviously, but then SGA, obviously was in the finals. What do you make of sort of the talent and the difference between the rest of the US and the rest of the world? Is it evening out? Who's sticking out?
I think it's certainly evening out. In fact, I do believe Adam Silver said this week that he would entertain the idea of potentially changing the All-Star format to a Team World versus Team USA All-Star game scenario. They've tried different things to get people's attention. That would certainly, I think, get a lot of people's attention just because some of those players across the world are tremendous. You mentioned SGA. What's so fun about him is he's bringing all his hometown kids with him. So he's never forgotten where he's come from. He's a very cerebral player. He's not super flashy
I
or
love him.
theatrical. Absolutely love him. He's in a Skims ad. Like it's just
that I didn't see.
It's pretty
But
impressive.
his MVP speech, like I will watch if I'm next time I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
I will be like, "Oh, but there's men like this who cry about their wives. They're so amazing." It was an incredible, iconic speech.
Absolutely. And not to mention, he's bringing
What
his
a teaser.
childhood friends to come play defense against him to create game-like opportunities. So he's like on this ride, but he's on this ride with everyone that helped him get there. There's something so cool about that and such a cool leader. And Canada, they were known for hockey. They're not known for basketball, but he's certainly putting that on the map. It's kind of cool to see.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bulls because on June 20th, this is so crazy, everybody. June 20th is the anniversary of the first Bulls three-peat. But obviously, with The Last Dance, with all of that, you heard me say MJ's the greatest of all time. Where do you lie in that argument?
I completely agree with you.
You do? Is it our Midwestie?
It
sort
is.
of thing?
It's the
Even though you're from
Midwestern
Oregon,
tie.
but
I'm from
you
Oregon.
spent time in Chicago.
I certainly did. And very recently is that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my studio is right outside of his Michael Jordan statue. So I get to walk in every single day and got to stare at his greatness.
I feel like we're forgetting the greatness of Michael.
Forget, maybe not, but maybe underappreciate it because the game has changed so much and there's a little bit different nuances in the game that people start to forget what exactly he did. But, you know, you think back to the flu game when he's ever able to win and overcome things like the flu or last second big shots. I mean, he was the reason that we expect that out of great players now, not to mention the clash of personalities that we got to see in The Last Dance. And for them to overcome all of that and then continue to win like that, to me, that's a part that we don't even give enough credence to. Because yes, fantastic players, but there's so much adversity that goes through an entire season as well. And to continue to win like that, that's pretty impressive.
As the Bulls open the home portion of their 97-98 campaign.
Game time programs tonight, folks. Only $2 on the outside.
If you don't go see Michael Jordan, well, you're missing out on life. That's for sure.
She said, "Do you want Christmas presents under the tree, or do you want to see Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman?" Yeah, we picked the Bulls.
Because when you're young, I was really young watching that
still
with my
very
dad.
young.
I didn't like quite get it. Like, what am I really watching? And I'd never rewatched it. Of course, you relived it with The Last Dance and it connected some dots and all this. But I went and I'm just like watching. Like, I forgot that Pippen wasn't in that game. And then the Rodman and Karl Malone smacking each other. But even just the pure aesthetics of the highlights and like, of course, the meaning and his dad and like all of the things.
It was mesmerizing. And it's interesting to hear you say that too with your background on so many different sports as well. You've seen so many sports
Nothing like it.
storylines just sparkle in front of your eyes. But to draw you back to that time, it just shows you how special and iconic it was, not just for basketball, but for sport in general, which I think is cool. And you're right. To your point, reliving it through these shows has been really fun. I was absolutely sat during COVID to watch The Last Dance over and over. In fact, I wore a different pair of Jordans every episode, literally for nobody. Nobody was in my home, but it's just the feeling you got rewatching it.
And it was that special moment where we're all together in something and we all gravitated towards something.
And if this was Michael Jordan's final game at Madison Square Garden, he leaves no doubt whatsoever that he exits just as he entered. The best there is.
The 90s Bulls, I could talk about that for 12 hours, but I don't know as much about tennis. But I saw Coco, incredible. Oh my gosh. Her winning the Open was unbelievable. Tell me about watching. Were you freaking out?
Absolutely freaking out. So amazing. And the pride you have as an American to see a player do that. Not to mention, she's just such an amazing advocate. And she's so polished for being so young, just 21 years old. And she's a role model and she does everything with such grace. And then when she wins, it's hard not to cheer for her. She's just absolutely fantastic to watch her do all the rounds of, you know, all the different TV shows and the press tour after winning. She just has so much class for someone so young and she has so much tennis left to play that it's just so fun that everybody,
21.
I know, I love that everybody is rallying behind her. I got to see her up close in a couple tournaments that she made the
I've
final.
never met her.
Oh, she's
What
wonderful.
is she like?
She's really wonderful. She's got a youthful personality, yet she's wise beyond her years. She loves fashion. So she's always, she would love to like see what outfit you're wearing. She would always comment on it. And she is just one of those players that understands that she's got a lot of pressure on herself.
So
but
much scrutiny.
She can certainly find a lot of the fun around. She goes to a lot of escape rooms. She loves going to the movies.
Oh.
So she tries to find the lightness among the tough and adversity and long schedule that is tennis.
How will she ride this momentum into Wimbledon?
You know, she's never made it past the 4th round at Wimbledon. So there's a lot of expectations there, but I also think maybe the expectations will be a little less because she just won. So maybe it'll be easier for people to be like, oh, there's a hangover. We don't expect it.
Is that really what
I mean, it's only a 3-week gap between the French Open and Wimbledon. It's so small.
I know that, but my expectation is sky high for her. She's the favorite.
Keep it there.
Okay.
I understand why, but because she hasn't had that much success there in the past on the grass, it's a different surface. She just went to the United States for a while. Now she's going back, trying to get adjusted to European time. I wouldn't put all stakes on her. Actually, there's a couple Americans that are in the top 10 that pique my interest, one of which is Madison Keys, who we saw win the Australian Open earlier this year. It was a fun story for her. She had just gotten married, and then on the heels of, marriage bliss, she wins her first ever Grand Slam. And she was a player that when she was that young, just as young as Coco, had those same types of pressures on her. And she didn't get it until way later on in her career. She's a player that has 74% winning percentage on grass. So this is a good tournament for her.
So I'm enjoying this little Wimbledon preview with Dani Klupenger. I do want to ask you about the guys' side, the men's side. I cannot scroll on my phone without seeing a clip of some tennis great telling Taylor Fritz, I don't want to see you anymore. I hate you. Don't go away. He's really having a moment, Taylor Fritz. Should I love him for Wimbledon?
Yes, you're bringing up Sasha Zverev, who said, I don't want to see Taylor Fritz anymore.
I loved it.
Taylor Fritz just won a grass court tournament leading into Wimbledon. So what better way to say, hey, I'm here, I'm back, I'm in contention for this title. He plays really well on the grass. He hasn't made it past the quarterfinal stage at Wimbledon before, but he's been a quarterfinalist twice. He's cemented himself in the top 5 in the world. Absolutely, he's a contender. So someone I would definitely pay attention to, especially if he's gaining momentum now. This is the time to do it. Because like I said, it is really hard for these tennis players to switch surfaces so quickly. And there's only a couple tournaments, just 3 weeks leading into Wimbledon, where you can really start to get used to the surface. And then that's it. It's like 4 weeks, 5 weeks of your entire season that's on grass. And then you just say goodbye to it, done and dusted. So for him to find momentum this quickly is definitely a good sign.
Last one for you on Wimbledon, for those who obviously are enjoying all the sports, and thanks everybody for listening. And please follow Dani on her socials. What makes Wimbledon stand out as the special moment that it is?
I do believe it's just the aura around Wimbledon, the grass courts. It feels very prestigious. It's a smaller tournament in sense of how many people are allowed into each court. So tickets are really hard to come by. Even players, you only get a ticket if you are playing on that day, and you only get one. So it's not like you can bring in your whole entourage of people. It's next to impossible to get into. You have royals attending. You have a queue that's standing outside where people camp out for tickets just to get a shot to be able to witness it up close on an outer court, let alone center court. So I think that's what makes it so special, is just the fact that we don't see it often. It's not a long season, the grass court season, and there's definitely a prestigious
means more to
factor.
the players, though, right?
For sure.
This is it.
This is a huge one for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people make this as their screensaver and have their whole lives. They just want this one because it's that special.
You're so insightful. I appreciate it so much. And if you guys are missing the NBA because it's now over, please, please, please check out Starting 5 Season 1. Season 2 is coming up with Kevin Durant, which I'm so freaking excited about. And of course, Court of Gold and The Last Dance, all available to stream on Netflix. Dani, thank you.
Thank you.